So NPR, somebody sent me the link today. I guess it was our producer, James, sent it. NPR, Stacy Smith, a writer for NPR, has a full article about a young lady paying off $18,000 worth of credit card debt, not making a lot of money, as a journalism living in Brooklyn. And she did this new craze that is sweeping the nation. Apparently Gen Z has a brand new fad out called cash stuffing.
It's a TikTok craze.
Living on cash on the envelope system. It's called cash stuffing.
Such a new concept.
Oh, it's brand new. Just came out. The TikTok guys just figured it out. And so it's fun, though. I'm glad she did it. So she learned how to do the envelope system. I heard about the envelope system 36 years ago the first time from a guy named Larry Burkett, and I have a collection of antique envelope systems from the 30s, the 20s, the 40s, and the 50s. It was quite the thing. There was little envelope systems like Rachel Cruz's wallet, had the red wallet that we have in the store right now, all the colors, but the brand new red one also. It has pockets in it that you label with categories in your budget, and some things in your budget. From the very first day I started teaching this, Larry Burkett stole it from your grandmother. I stole it from Larry Burkett and your grandmother. We've been teaching people to do the envelope system, which now is called cash stuffing, if you're a cool Gen Z TikToker. So that's how that works. And so here's how cash stuffing, now that I know what you call it, here's how the envelope system that we've taught for 40 years works. It's pretty simple. You have some categories in your budget, and they should be mostly, if not all, categories of things you spend when you are not paying bills. You're away from your desk. You're away from your home. So a grocery store could be car gas, could be entertainment budget. It could be restaurant budget. And I do recommend when you first start your budget, separate restaurants and groceries because it'll make you realize what you're spending on restaurants. And so what we taught people to do, and we still teach people to do this, I just didn't know it was cool again. I mean, if you keep your clothes long enough, they come back. Just ask James. I mean, it's come back from the 90s, right? So, but the so the idea is I'm going to spend X number of dollars for this pay period on groceries. I'll make up a number, $500, $400, whatever the number is. You actually get that much cash out of your paycheck and put the actual real dollars into the envelope marked groceries, or in the Rachel Cruz envelope system, and you label it groceries. And then you don't buy any groceries except out of that envelope. And you don't buy anything out of that envelope except groceries. It makes you keep your categories clean and true. And oh, by the way, when you are out of money in that category, stop buying. And so this young lady goes to the grocery store in this article with $46 in the grocery store. $46 cash.
For the week?
Apparently.
Or for the month?
No. It's for the week.
Okay.
And I believe. I
was like,
have to go back and reread the article.
Budget.
But
That's beans
I mean,
and rice.
but she's like, I have to stay away from the fancy olive oil aisle because I really yearn for that stuff, and I'm not going to get it. And she's buying day-old bread and gets a whole thing, a loaf of bread, and she's like, okay, that's 20 slices. That means I get 10 peanut butter and jellies out of that. And so, and she's going down $2.36, 80 cents, $6.38. And as she's walking through, she knows she can't go over $46 because that's what's in her food envelope.
Well, and it feels different when you're spending cold, hard cash. Like when you actually are handing over something in that transaction that you don't get back, there's an emotional attachment to it.
Well, the studies have shown, and one of the best studies was done at MIT, is they were studying the brainwave and brainwave activity. And when you spend with real cash, it activates the pain centers of the brain. When you spend with plastic, nothing, no brain. But but anyway, no, I mean, it's just dead. There's no, but in other words, you have an ouchie moment when you spend cash because you have a realization. And you're right, Rachel Cruz pointed out years ago, and I had never thought of it, but she and I were doing an event together, and she pointed out when you hand, you think about when you were a kid, if you wanted to trade one of your toys to another kid for their toy. So there's a trade, there's a transaction. You give them yours, that you don't get it back, they give you theirs. And so that's what happens with cash. We hand over president faces, and we leave with a loaf of bread. So there's a transaction. There's a handing. You give up something, and you leave with something. Visually, that doesn't happen when you spend with plastic. You give them the plastic, they hand you the plastic back and the loaf of bread. There's no transaction visually, to your point earlier. And that sounds so primitive, but it activates those parts of the brain, and you have to understand personal finance is 80% behavior. It's only 20% head knowledge. So when you put systems in place that help you manage your behavior, you're it's a life hack. You're cutting a corner and making it work.
Well, and that's part of, when people say, I can keep credit cards and I pay them off every month. I'm not going to argue with the people who say that they can do that, but do you spend more when you do that? Do you not have that pain center go off? Like, if you were actually spending cash, would you be a little bit more hesitant to buy that extra shirt, to buy that extra purchase that you maybe don't need?
Well, studies prove that you spend 12 to 18% more using plastic than using cash. I mean, we've got tons of research on this. This is not a new phenomenon. And in the digital world, we call it friction. The easier it is without realizing you spent money, without too many steps, then boom, you hit the PayPal, clink, boom.
Oh, Amazon.
You click on, your card is already on file, and you just click buy. And there's no recognition that money's actually spent. The weird thing is the studies also show that when you use a debit card versus a credit card, that there's more physiological reaction, recognition. I better have the money in that account, otherwise I just bounced a check when I use my debit card, right?
Yep.
Otherwise I've just gone into overdraft. And there's a physiological recognition of that in your body and in your brain versus when you lay the plastic down, you're just like, we'll figure it out later.
Mm-hmm. I think now, too, it's like the temptation keeps getting even higher because we've got Venmo where you can just transfer money so easy. A friend's going to be like, I'll pick up dinner, and you can just send them money. We've got Amazon where it's one-click ordering. It's like everything. It's getting so easy to spend. So it's like even if you're using a debit card, I think it's getting more and more important to create boundaries around your spending so that you feel it, so that, even if it's an easy transaction, there's a little bit of pain or a little bit of boundaries to keep you in line.
Here's the other side of the equation. Retired school teacher, retired Methodist pastor, $3.7 million net worth December of 2021. We're debt-free multimillionaires drowning in a cosmic ocean of grace. Giving is the most fun we can have, not involving fat, sugar, or chocolate.
I feel like we're speaking to ourselves.
We're childless, but we have 16 kids that we support, so we have 16 children. Very cool. See, that's what happens when you stuff cash.